Hear ye, I've got some news about St. Helena Island, and I think you'll enjoy it, so pay attention. So, if you don't know where St. Helena is on a map, I'll give you a second. Alright, time's up. Your second is over. Did you guess here? No, you didn't? Yes, it is a tiny island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, halfway between South America and Western Africa. So, St. Helena isn't the only remote island that's close by. There's two other remote Atlantic islands close by to it. There's Ascension Island, but we don't talk about that, and Tristan da Cunha, known as one of the most isolated islands in the world. People live on it, too. That's the crazy thing. St. Helena was discovered in 1502 by the Portuguese, who sailed around the area trying to get to other far-off places. Where? I don't know. Eventually they returned and brought a bunch of livestock and whatnot onto the island along with fruits and vegetables. It looked like a good place to settle down because they had a lot of resources on the island, so they figured they'd do that. Eventually, it became a big trading hub for other European ships traveling from places anywhere from like Europe to Asia, or, really anywhere. Much later on, English sailors discovered it and promptly claimed it as a British colony. But then later on, in order to colonize the island, they brought over farmers and tried to settle it. But then things got messy in Britain with the whole restoration thing that was happening. But then after that, it got better when more people came to it and they began to build up the infrastructure on the island. They built the first settlement there called Jamestown, which is still inhabited there today. Now, despite being rugged and mountainous and having that kind of hilly terrain in general, there's actually birds that are known to frequent the island a lot, a few of which are actually native. It became extra forested after Europeans arrived because they had a generally warm, tropical, and windy climate, and they needed trees to, build houses. The island became famous, as in really famous, after Napoleon was exiled to it in 1815, and since much of France and also Europe in general was scared he'd return back home for a third time, they fortified the previous two islands as well, just to make sure. Since then, to this day, the island still relies heavily on Britain for things like aid and support and whatnot, and their economy and tourism has slowly went down, mostly relying on tourists coming to see Napoleon artifacts. However, I slowly believe that with proper training, their economy could get back up again, because this is a pretty cool place, and I think it's very underrated and worth your visit. But how do you get there? Let's find out. So apparently, one of the main ways to get there is a bit of a challenge. So first, you want to fly from Britain to Cape Town over the entire continent of Africa, which can take actually up to a day to arrive if you're unlucky. Now, because St. Helena doesn't have a commercial airport, you have to take a separate boat from Cape Town to the island itself, which can take God knows how long until you finally reach it. So hopefully you got some good traveler's luck, because you're going to need it. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed this new thing on St. Helena, if you can call it that. Is it educational? Kind of. Will this ever make a difference in anyone's life? It will not. Go to St. Helena. They deserve the tourism. They're a pretty cool place.